Okay, so in this first classwork, what I'd like to do is give you the instruction for how to do classwork and at the same time give you how this class will work. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to a tab that I have open with our course, and this is the home screen. Okay, this is where you will see each week's assignments, and this is really a lot of where you'll spend your time. But I will tell you one really great view is the calendar. And the calendar really helps you set up as far as when things are due, what things are due, so that you can plan accordingly. So what we're going to go over is this first classwork right here. So you can either access it here by clicking here, and then it'll give you like a condensed version, right? Now, because I'm instructor, I have a little different version, but it's the same idea. But I'm going to show you the other way you can do it is in the course. Again, you will have multiple course lists. Then you will see in week 1 classwork. Okay, so in week 1 you have 2 items due, and due dates always fall the same way, which is a Thursday night and a Monday night. Okay, and so for this first week we only have 2 items, and then starting in the second is a typical week. But let's stick to just looking at the week 1 classwork. And so I will click in here, and I'm recording this video to help you do this assignment. So we'll actually follow along in general with what it says here. So you need to have, and I put this already in the week 0 video, is set up a Gmail account. Okay, if you haven't done it, now's the time to do it. And so what I'm going to walk you through is how to set up the folders. And how this relates to classwork is the folders I want you to set up will work through various assignments through the course. Okay, so I already have a student account logged in to Gmail. Now, by the way, I'm using a Mac here, not a big deal. I will talk either in this video or the next about the computers that you use and just things you have to think about. But in general, I'll stop here and say my preferred browser is Chrome. My second preferred browser is Firefox. Now I'm just going to log on to here, my Firefox, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google Drive. So now that you have your Gmail open, there's a couple of ways to get there. It's hard to see on this screen. Let me scoot it over just a little bit. You see these little squares stacked on top of each other. If you click over here, and I can just zoom in to show you this, you can just go to Drive here. Now I have another preferred way that I like to do this, and I'll show you, is that I like to open a new tab, and now that I'm logged into Google, I just type drive.google.com. Now my computer, my browser, already knows I've been there. I can just hit enter to quickly go there. Now there's nothing in my drive right now. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up, how I want you to set it up for our course. Okay, so let's do that. So in Drive, you'll go New, and you go Create a folder. Now I prefer the name of this folder to be the name of the class, and then the semester, FA, fall, and then the year that you've taken it. Oops, 16. Now I'm not going to get real particular on this name. It's really for your own organization, but in general I think that's a good name, because it tells you what course it is, tells you what semester and what year. Okay, so now inside of here you're going to create 2 more directories. So I'm going to double click into here, and now I'm in this folder. So new, I'm going to create another new folder, and this one's going to be shared with Rio Waller. Kind of makes sense. We name the folder what it is we're doing with the folder. So whatever you place into this folder is only shared with me, and in a moment I'll show you how to set the permissions so that that's true. Go ahead and create that, and you see it just shows up, and so we'll do another folder. So the other folder will be shared with everyone, because there'll be times, like in your hands-on assignments, that you will share your work with everyone in the course. So now that we have the 2 required folders set up, I'm going to show you now how to set permissions. Okay, and there's a couple of ways to do it, and notice that there's this little person icon. So before you set permissions, you have to tell it which folder are you setting permissions on, and notice as I click off, these little icons go away, and that's just saying you can only set permissions really on a folder. Now the other way you can get to this is you right click, and you can go to, where's it at? Share, right there. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now the one shared with me, we're going to share differently than the shared with everyone. So let's go here, shared, and on this one, okay, we're going to say, and you're going to type in my name, Ria Waller at Gmail. Okay, and what you're going to do is make sure I have edit on this folder. And you're going to go ahead, you can send a note, you don't have to. I get an email, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and send. Now, did you happen to notice here what happened to that folder? That folder got a little person icon showing you that it is now shared. If you want to review the sharing, you can go into there. Okay, so this folder, whatever you put in it, is shared with me. So now let's do the same thing for here, but with different permissions. Right click, shared, but this time shared with everyone, we're going to get a shareable link. Okay, we'll click there. Right? Good. So now this is a URL we won't need for now, but I'll show you how to in a future video how to then share items out of that folder. Okay, so I'm going to hit done here. Okay, so get shareable link and then hit done. And you can see now each of these folders has the shared icon on them. But again, they're different. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the shared with everyone because we did all this honestly to do this next step. Now you only have to do the steps I just showed you once. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over here now. So now that we've created a folder, now we're going to create a Google Doc. Okay, and it's showing us, which is really helpful, that and this is what I've been saying, is anything created in that directory has the same, or the folder has the same permissions. So I'll click OK. And so what I've done here is it's created a new untitled document, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and, because it opened it up in a new tab, I'm going to show you by going back. It's not showing up here yet, but I could just either go back here and double click into here. Well, it should have been there. Let's make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and click to untitled, and let's type classwork. Good. Let's see if that showed up here. Oh, good. So as soon as it must have just taken, it's a little bit of a lag. Typically, as soon as you do something in a document, it's saved. So we can see that it was saved into that folder. Okay. So now we're working on classwork in the shared with Ria Waller. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to do week 1. Okay, and you should be following along. I'm going to click and drag across. I'm going to go up to the text. I'm going to do heading 1. So each week you'll be doing work in the same document. Okay, so what will happen is we're going to do notes here in a minute. Okay, so that's what we'll do in a minute. So I just want to show you this is the way it works. But I also want to show you now that when you do week 2, you put the most current on top. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that for a second. I'm just showing you for purposes of instruction. So here's what you want to do. Now you want to take notes. Okay, so let's say all notes are completed. Now I'm not going to take time to do all these because that's the job that you want to do. Is really what I'm looking for in these notes is how well did you watch the video, and when I emphasize points, did you note them, right? All items, all notes are completed in one Google Doc. Okay, called Classwork. So I'm just giving an example there, okay? So now what we've done, and let's just go back because we've created the folders. We've created inside of one of the folders the classwork document that you will use for all of your notes, all right? So now I'm going to go ahead and move back to my classwork. So now we've actually done this all the way up through here. Right, so we've done all the steps here. So now what you're going to do is continue taking notes on the stuff that I will go over. Okay, so good. So as I'm talking from this point on, I expect to see these things in your notes. Okay, all right, so let me go ahead and go back and now start talking about the course. So what you will, let me just say this before I continue, is there'll be a couple of videos that you'll need to watch here. And it won't be until you complete all the videos that you will submit this item, and I'll show you at the end of the videos how to submit, but it's really easy. It's just a URL. Well, actually, now that I've talked about it, let's just actually show you here. Okay, so let me go back here. So this URL is what you will then share. I'm going to select it and copy it, and then you will share that inside. Oh, actually I shouldn't do it because I'm looking at it as an instructor, but you as a student, you will see a place to submit the URL and you can paste it there. But again, I'm previewing what you will do at the end of all the classwork. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to go back to home. So I've given you, so let's just review a little bit, right? Week 0, you got a video showing you some of the basics as far as this class goes, what you need. The syllabus is really important, so let's just look, because I want you to put this in your notes to make sure you have it, right? You can either look at the syllabus as an external link, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is a Google Doc, so this should actually look really familiar now. If you've dealt with Google Docs, that's what it is. And this gives you the information about me, where I'm located, my calendar, my contact. And I've given my email here, but you will hear me say later to really only use Canvas. So that goes in your notes. Really only use Canvas for sending me and communicating with me. I will have also another video showing you how to get onto class chat. That'll be a really my students say a really fun way to connect with not just me but with your classmates. Okay. All right, so going down through here, I talked about the books in the week 0 video, right? And I talked about how much they were. And at the end of the video, I talked about, sorry, before I jump ahead, I talked about the 2 ways you can get them. So hopefully if you don't know that, go back and review week 0 for that. But what I really want to say too is that, and I've, by the way, updated the course syllabus now with the My IT Lab courses that you need, and I've given links for how to register. And what I really wanted to say was, when do you need the books? Okay, so let's come down to, oh, actually, it's not here. That's good. Back in the syllabus. In Canvas, below the syllabus is really the items as they break down. So at the end of here's week 1, here's week 2, okay, and then here is the end of the week, okay, 2, and which is really the Monday. So you will need, for the chapter quiz and the word chapter 1, okay, so this is a My IT Lab assignment. This is a chapter quiz. The chapter quiz, and this should go in your notes, is in Canvas. And the word, anytime it says Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, that is your My IT Lab. And that will be done in a separate system, and I'll show you how to post your print screens for that. Okay? So you will need the books at the end of week 2. Okay? Now I wouldn't wait until this date. And you can see due dates here. Everything's due at midnight. I get up and grade the next morning. Students often ask me, well, what happens if I do it past the midnight hour? These things don't go away, but I do grade them as soon as I wake up. So if you don't have them done by the time I wake up, and I'm fairly consistent, you can ask previous students about this, about waking up and grading. So plan on this date, that way you're not working under too much of a stressful timeline. And if you work late, just know that that's true, right? So, all right, so that's what I wanted to say there, is about the item when you need the required materials for this particular course. All right, so I'm going to go back home again. And I showed you before, but let's look at the calendar. So the calendar is really great because it helps you visually see when things are coming up. It also allows you to get to that. So in your notes, calendar is an important way to see the items, when they're due, and what they are. It's just a quick way, I think a quicker way than going to the course itself. But you know, it's really however you get comfortable doing this as well. So that calendar is really just, when you go into the course, the visual calendar of all the items that are in here. All right. All right, so we've gone over, let me go back to my notes and see how much I've covered. We've talked about the Google Drive setup. This is what I want, one of the last things I'll have you do for this. I think I've talked about all this. I've set up the Google Doc for our class. We've covered formatting, right? I've covered required materials, and we talked about using Canvas to communicate with me. But just to show you the inbox here, is if we go to inbox, then you can select, right? Now yours again will look a little differently, right? And you can select the course that you're communicating, right? And then you can select just me. You can select the teacher, and then it'll send an email just to me. All right, so I was getting towards the end of this, and I'm going to go ahead and shut this out so I can show you that. We've talked about the classwork. Oh yeah, so I'm going to go back to the course, right? I'm back into our course again. And now I've talked about classwork. I've talked about emailing. There was something else. Darn it, I missed it. What was that item? Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and stop this video, right? So all that you should have taken notes. We'll continue to take notes on the next video about topics that we'll cover. All right, I'll see you on the second one.